Why were you in jail?
I was trying to make some money, and so I started like selling things that I shouldn't be.
Yeah, are the things you can light up? Brother and sister.
Yep, yes, Your Honor.
You're suing your sister.
I went from rich to broke, and now I'm here to collect what was owed to me.
You went from rich to broke.
Yes, sir.
It was more fun being rich, huh?
Yeah, yes, it wasn't, sir.
Yeah. How'd you get to be rich?
Well, so I was in a car accident. I was actually in a Lyft, like an Uber.
Yes.
And I was headed back to my house, and I was involved in an accident. I was hit by a drunk driver. We flipped 4 times. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, and I ended up getting pinned to a light post.
Wow.
And so I ended up breaking my collarbone.
Oh.
I ended up having my spleen. Initially, it was fixed, and then I had to go back later because I was jaundiced and my liver was failing. So they had to remove the spleen. They had to remove the infection pockets. I ended up developing an infection pocket on my scrotum.
And I did help take care of him when he was healing from that.
That's good.
So I had to have 1/3 of my scrotum removed,
Yeah,
and then I underwent 4 surgeries involving also like a wound vac and having a home wound vac and home health care. But Lyft does carry $1 million insurance policy, so me and the driver got to split the $1 million.
So how much did you get?
So initially I got $293,000, and then my lawyer also got me $66,000 under my dad's insurance policy for underinsured drivers. So I ended up having a total of $350,000.
So you have $350,000.
He gambled most of his money away. It wasn't.
Which that has nothing to do with it.
Do
That has
you-
nothing to do with this.
So you don't have that money anymore?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
What happened to it?
I enjoyed living luxuriously and spending the money.
So you spend all that money, basically?
Yep. Yes, Your Honor, I did.
He lived at the casino at a presidential suite for quite a while.
Casino in Vegas?
In Tucson.
What was the best thing that you bought?
So I bought a statue I still have to this day. It's a $12,000 statue. It's called the Studium Prometheans by Michael Wilkinson. It's a naked man and woman in an eternal flame, and it's clear so you could put on a lighted display and display it.
$12,000.
When he went to jail, I held on to that statue for him also and gave it back to him when he got out also.
You chipped it, but you did.
What do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm a bartender.
And it never dawned on you that this $350,000, it's just gonna
I didn't think that
go
money
away.
could go that quickly, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah.
You could have bought a bar with that.
Yeah. Why were you in jail?
I was trying to make some money, and so I started like selling things that I shouldn't be to make that money.
Yeah. Are the things you can light up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Statues?
No. So basically, you were selling drugs and you got in trouble and you went to jail.
Yes, Your Honor. But
Okay.
irregardless of the fact, I still lent her that money, and she agreed to pay it back.
And you're here because you're suing your sister. She borrowed $5,000 from you because she wanted to buy a boat.
That's correct, Your Honor.
He did loan me the money to buy the boat. That's the Exhibit A. That's a picture of the boat that I bought, which I still have to this day, which we love. We, spend our summers out on the lake, and we love it, So
Who's we?
me, my husband, our kids.
And you borrowed money from your
my brother
because you knew he
because he had a lot of money and he was being kind of careless with it. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just ask him if he'll loan it to me. Maybe he will, Like I didn't really half expect him to, but he did. So.
Okay, and you agreed to pay him back.
I did agree to pay him back. Yes.
Well, she paid you back $1,000.
Yes, I did. However, when he went to jail, he had called me from jail. First, before he went to jail, he had come by my house one day and told me he was almost broke, and he pretty much was broke, and he had gone through all the money, and I had given him $200 that day just to start paying him back, because we had agreed I was going to start paying him back when I got my tax money, and then I found out he was in jail, and he called me from jail and asked me to get his car out of impound. That he had bought a car that he loved that was a big purchase. I think he spent like 20 grand on it or something. It was a nice car. He had gotten it impounded and he wanted it.
Why was the car impounded?
From when I had got arrested. But irregardless of that, she
Anyway, the word is regardless.
Regardless of that, she also picked up all of my belongings from the residence I was living at, where she proceeded to like pawn those items. I had a diamond ring, my favorite ring. It was like a $1,500 ring, and it's literally for sale at the pawn shop next to her house right now.
I don't know about the ring. I didn't touch the ring.
She denied it for about 4 months, and then she finally admitted to my father that she had pawned it. And that's the only thing she will admit to is pawning that ring, but she admitted it to my father.
And for how much?
How much did you get for it, Jesse?
I don't know what he's talking about, but I didn't pawn the ring.
That's a lie.
But I did have a ring of his that I gave him back.
You're under oath here.
I did take a couple of his jewelry items, and I did give his ring back. One of them I lost, but the other one I gave back to him recently because I wanted to kind of like clear the air with him, you know, and that was something that I had of his that wasn't right for me to have, so I gave it back.
I had just bought this car. If you refer to my bank statements, Exhibit A, you can see where I bought the car for $19,000 in August. And so I ended up going to jail in November. So I drove that car for about 3 months. When I got out, this car was completely ruined. The interior was ruined, all my carpets were ruined, the leather was ruined. She has 3 kids, and I didn't think she would be driving the car, but she drove the car the whole time I was incarcerated. No, I did not ever tell you you could drive it. She drove it the entire time I was incarcerated. It came out with ruined carpets, literally the car was no longer drivable. When you tried to drive it, it would just shake violently. And so she drove it till literally you could not drive the car anymore.
We started driving it, and when we realized something was wrong with it, I parked it at my dad's house so that he would have it when he got out. And I told him that he needed to fix something on it when he got out.
Okay.
And the car cost $1,200 to get out. And on top of that, I had to get the insurance and the registration in my name for me to be able to get it out of impound. And that cost $400 for the insurance and $235 for the registration. So I mean, it was over $2,000 just getting that car out alone.
I have a letter she wrote me in jail, and she agreed that she would start putting $100 on my books per month. And that lasted 1 month, Your Honor, and then literally month 2, she quit answering my calls.
Just on the loan, not on all the other things you did, he did, you did. That aside, on the actual loan for the boat, why do you not owe him?
Well, I felt like the money that I used for to get his car to impound, I had verbally told him that when he called me to get it out. I said, okay, so the money that I owe you, we're gonna use this money towards getting your car.
Okay, and what did he say to that?
Yes, please get my car out.
Okay, when you called her, could you please go and get my car out of the impoundment lot? You agreed that that could be put against what she owes you on the boat.
No, I did not agree to that.
Under what theory would you call and say, could you, because it's going to be over $1,000, could you just pay to get my car out?
She had gone to jail before previously, and I literally watched her stuff, I protected her stuff, and so I just figured she would do that for me.
That's not like, hey, can you lend me 10 bucks, or, you know, this is a couple of $1,000. How much was it to get out of the impoundment lot?
I didn't even know.
How much
was it? A little over $2,000
total.
A little over $2,000. It was $1,200 just from the lot, but like I said, I had to get the insurance, the registration.
So to get it out of the lot was $1,200.
Yes.
You're asking me to believe that asking her for $1,200, there was no implication that you would pay her back once you're out of jail.
She wrote me a letter, just one letter when I was in there the whole time, and she did say something about she would keep a record of all these expenses she incurred, and she would mail them to me in the next letter she wrote me. Mind you, I never got a letter to.
When you asked her to get the car out of the lot, it was of a sufficient amount of money that the implication, even by what you're telling me now, is that you would make her whole on that amount of money to get the car out. So I am going to deduct that $1,200. Now, I know you spent other money for him, but if there's going to be a replacement, like instead of paying you back, can I do this for you? Or can I buy you that? He has to agree to it.
It was just a verbal thing that we said to each other.
Well, there's no proof of that. So he is entitled to be repaid the loan that you agreed to repay. I am reducing the $1,200, taking $1,200 off the original $5,000 loan, because the implication was that he did agree that that would be deducted. In fact, he even said so here. So therefore, I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $3,800. Thanks, guys.
I mean, I still love him, and I hope we can move on from here, you know, put this behind us now.
It was not a good feeling to be in jail, and after doing all this and lending her money and helping her with everything, for her to, first of all, not write me again, and then to say that I'm not allowed to call her house and not allowed at her house when I'm get out of jail, that was just kind of crazy. Well, it was impounded from when I had got arrested, but irregardless of that, she picked up all my...
Anyway, the word is regardless.
Regardless of that.
Because irregardless is redundant, okay? Just regardless. Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have 2 options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.